Hello, fellow heirs, and welcome back to Weekday Wind Down with the Word, where we are reading through the book of Genesis. And today we will be reading the 32nd chapter of Genesis in the NLT version. So with that being said, let's start reading. As Jacob started on his way again, angels of God came to meet him. When Jacob saw them, he exclaimed, "This is God's camp." So he named the place Mahanaim. Jacob sends gifts to Esau. Then Jacob sent messengers ahead to his brother Esau, who was living in the region of Seir in the land of Edom. He told them, "Give this message to my master Esau. Humble greetings from your servant Jacob. Until now, I have been living with Uncle Laban, and now I own cattle, donkeys, flocks of sheep, and goats, and many servants, both men and women. I have sent these messengers to inform my lord of my coming, hoping that you will be friendly to me." After delivering the message, the messengers returned to Jacob and reported, "We met your brother Esau, and he is already on his way to meet you with an army of 400 men." Jacob was terrified at this news. He divided his household, along with the flocks and herds and camels, into two groups. He thought, if Esau meets one group and attacks it, perhaps the other group can escape. Then Jacob prayed, "O God of my grandfather Abraham, O God of my father Isaac, O Lord, you told me, return to your land and to your relatives, and you promised me I would treat you kindly. I am not worthy of all the unfailing love and faithfulness you have shown me, your servant. When I left home and crossed the Jordan River, I owned nothing except a walking stick. Now my household fills two large camps. O Lord, please rescue me from the hand of my brother Esau. I am afraid that he is coming to attack me along with my wives and children. But you promised me, I surely treat you kindly, and I will multiply your descendants until they become as numerous as the sands along the seashore, too many to count." Jacob stayed where he was for the night. Then he selected these gifts from his possessions to present to his brother Esau: 200 female goats, 20 male goats, 200 ewes, 20 rams, 30 female camels with their young, 40 cows, 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys, and 10 male donkeys. He divided these animals into herds and assigned each to different servants. Then he told his servant, "Go ahead of me with the animals, but keep some distance between the herds." He gave these instructions to the men leading the first group: "When my brother Esau meets you, he will ask, 'Whose servants are you? Where are you going? Who owns these animals?' You must reply, 'They belong to your servant Jacob, but they are a gift for his master Esau. Look, he is coming right behind us.'" Jacob gave the same instruction to the second and the third herdsman, and to all who followed behind the herds. "You must say the same thing to Esau when you meet him, and be sure to say, 'Look, your servant Jacob is right behind us.'" Jacob thought, "I will try to appease him by sending gifts ahead of me. When I see him in person, perhaps he will be friendly to me." So the gifts were sent on ahead, while Jacob himself spent the night in the camp. Jacob wrestles with God. During the night, Jacob got up and took his 2 wives, his 2 servant wives, and his 11 sons and crossed the Jabbok River with them. After taking them to the other side, he sent over all his possessions. This left Jacob all alone in the camp, and a man came and wrestled with him until the dawn began to break. When the man saw that he would not win the match, he touched Jacob's hip and wrenched it out of its socket. Then the man said, "Let me go, for the dawn is breaking." But Jacob said, "I will not let you go until you bless me." "What is your name?" the man asked. He replied, "Jacob." "Your name will no longer be Jacob," the man told him. "From now on, you will be called Israel, because you have fought with God and with men and have won." "But tell me your name," Jacob said. "Why do you want to know my name?" the man replied. Then he blessed Jacob there. Jacob named the place Peniel, which means face of God. For he said, "I have seen God's face to face, yet my life has been spared." The sun was rising as Jacob left Peniel, and he was limping because of the injury to his hip. Even today, the people of Israel don't eat the tendon near the hip socket because of what happened that night when a man strained the tendon of Jacob's hip. Wow. Okay, that concludes Genesis 32 in the NLT version. That's really something. I could just imagine going back to somebody that you have done wrong and you haven't talked to them in a while, so you don't know how the situation is gonna be when you meet up with them. And so Jacob was very afraid that Esau was going to kill him. And so I could see, that situation even playing out today if, you have done someone wrong in the past, but you never did go back and apologize or ask for forgiveness. You never did get things straightened out with them. And then when you meet them, you don't know how that situation is going to be. You don't know if they're going to welcome you, if they have forgiven you or what, if you haven't talked to them during that time. And so you just have to pray and leave it in God's hand and handle it at that time. But, back in those days, you could get killed for something, for stealing somebody's birthright. And I guess you could in today's time too. So this was a very serious situation for Jacob. And I also find it so fascinating how they would change names back, how God would change their names back during the day based on their action of what they've done. And that's just something that we don't do today. We don't change names based on people action. Well, most people don't. I'm sure there are some people that change their names for whatever reason. It is allowed, if you go through the courts, but most people don't change their name unless they're getting married. And most people don't even name their children based on the circumstances that brought them in the world. Only a few people might name their children based on what went on, or based on, how they want them to be when they grow up. And so it's interesting, I think, how people were named back in the day, which was really a serious thing. And we don't take, I don't think we take naming children as serious as they did back then. I think people just think, oh, this is a nice name. It sounds good. It goes with the last name. But they don't really look at the meaning. And I'm not talking about all people. I'm sure there are some people that do look at the meaning of names. But some people, they just, just slap a name on a child because it sounds good. And we really need to know what that name means before we name that child, because people are going to be calling that child by that name the rest of their lives. So it's a very serious thing. So I'm running out of time now, so I'm going to end this video. What do you think? Are there any lessons that you noticed? Was the Lord speaking to you? Let me know in the comments below. Bye.